Welcome to Home Farm. Today we're going to be unboxing and reviewing this smart LED strip light from Eve.
So before we get on to unboxing the Eve light strip, we just want to let you know what we're doing or we're going to be doing with the Eve light strip. We're here in our farmhouse kitchen, and this kitchen has been installed by the previous owners many years ago. And when they had the kitchen installed, they also had an LED light strip installed above the counters and in the cupboards and above the oven. And the light that was chosen at the time was a very cool, cold kind of blue light. And every other light in the entire property is a very, very warm light. So we want to change this up, get it onto a nice warm light so that the whole room is on the same kind of lighting and it looks nice and cohesive and nice and warm and cozy.
So that's why we opted for the Eve strip light, because it is a very customizable strip light. And what I mean by that is that you can change any color that you want. So you can, if you want to have a warm color or a cold color, or if you're having a party or something like that, you can actually customize all of the colors. It can go crazy.
It can go really wild.
Not that we will, but well,
you never know.
You never know.
You never know.
So that is the flexibility that the strip light gives us. When you open the box, you get three things basically. You get the plug, you get the power adapter, and you get the actual strip light itself. You also get a little double-sided sticky thing, which I assume is going to be to actually stick this if you have to prop it underneath something. The strip light itself is 2 meters long. In our case, it's not going to be long enough to run underneath this entire cabinet and up through the top here. So we've also got an extension. Buying the extension is cheaper because then you don't have to buy two of these particular boxes, because then you're also obviously getting additional adapters. So all that's going to happen is that once we've run this, the actual extension is just going to clip into that, and that's going to give us 4 meters. The 4 meters is going to be too long for us. So what Eve do is they actually mark portions on the actual strip light where you can cut it. There's actually cut marks, so you have to cut it in that place. And on the reverse side of the strip light is more double-sided tape. I've got to say, I wasn't expecting the strip light to be as thick as this. It actually feels very sturdy and very big. There's loads of LED lights in here. So I'm really keen to get this up and to see how it transforms our kitchen. So I've just plugged it in to test it. It's really bright. Obviously I haven't set up the app yet, so I can't control the colors or the actual brightness. But I know that these LED lights can cast up to 1800 of lumens of light, which is an incredible amount. I've got to say it's super bright, and if you actually position this in here now, it's going to more than illuminate this area. To show you the difference, I'm going to turn the current LED light off, and I'm going to turn this one on.
Light show.
A light show over which we have no control. So just to give you an idea of how much light it casts, I'm going to put it up here. I've got to say, a lot of light.
So the Eve strip lights have been up for about a week now, and we installed them, as you can see, in the underneath of the cabinets and also up through the cabinets, so they also light our glassware, and we're really pleased with it. It looks fantastic.
Yeah, I mean, in terms of the Eve stuff that we've used so far, I think the Eve strip lights have been the coolest.
Yeah, the most fun.
The most fun, purely because I suppose it is a light feature, so it's something that's created additional light in our kitchen.
Yeah.
But it's also become a little bit more functional. That's something that we'll just touch on in a minute.
Yeah, it's completely changed the whole vibe and look of the kitchen, because the previous lights that have been installed were just one tiny bulb, and it was a blue light, and it was just not casting any light whatsoever. It's been really enjoyable to see the kitchen illuminated, and you can see everything on the countertops, and you can see where you're working, and you come in, it just it just even feels cleaner just because of, you've got a warmer light as opposed to that kind of really dull kind of grey blue light.
I've got to say, these actual strip lights are super bright.
Yes.
When you turn them up to max, I mean, they're literally bordering on kind of landing light strips. I mean, it's super bright.
Yeah.
These are probably shining at about half.
About 50%.
About 50%.
Yeah.
And it's perfectly adequate during the day, and during the night time it casts a really good amount of light, so we don't even have to use the spotlights above us that much.
Well, we use our spotlights still when we're actually preparing our food, but certainly when we leave the room and we're no longer in the kitchen, we just leave these the Eve strip lights on, and it's lovely. It just casts such a nice warm light in the kitchen, and you can still come in here and make yourself a cup of tea quite comfortably. So yeah, it has actually helped cut down our usage of our spotlights as well.
So I think one of the really great perks about the strip light is that it's very customizable. You can choose whatever color you actually want, and you actually spend quite a bit of time on the little color wheel picking the right colors that work in our kitchen.
Yeah, so I think it's worth mentioning that, you know, for example, what I said to Mars when we first installed them was that if you look on either side of our oven, we've got cream coloured cabinets, and then the wall is actually a very, very light grey, like almost the lightest grey. And so you can, it really doesn't change the colour that you shine on it. So for example, if you were to shine a warm light, it takes a warm light. If you shine a blue light, it probably takes it a little bit more. But it doesn't really change the light. But for example, right above our oven, we've got all this red brickwork on either side, and then we've got these blue tiles here. And that really does change colour. So for example, I said to Mars, if we had purchased one standard LED strip light in a normal warm light, and we had installed it across all three areas, the light that we would have had, the feedback of light that we would have had above the oven would have actually looked like we had installed a different light, even though we hadn't, because it would have actually just changed the tone of the light. So it is something to think about if you're installing a strip light in a kitchen or a bathroom even, and if you've got a different area of that room that maybe has an accent wall, maybe it's got a very dark charcoal grey wall or something like that, just to think about that when you shine a light onto a white or a cream wall, it'll give you more of the real light. But if you shine it onto a very dark blue, navy blue, charcoal grey or anything like that, you will actually feel like the colour, it's almost like the bulb has changed, and you think, oh my goodness, it's completely different light. So we have installed 3 separate strip lights, and that means that we've got 3 separate controls on our iPhone. So we've called the one here nearest the door, we've got the one over there which is the kettle cabinet, and then we've got the oven. So the ones on either side, the cabinets on either side, they have got the same colour on the colour wheel. I've selected the same colour. But the one over the oven, because we've got that blue and we've got that red brick and we've got so many different colours going on there, I've actually changed and customised it to a different colour. But actually cleverly, when you stand back to everybody else, it looks like we've got the same colour. So I've actually thought that was really convenient, and a lot of people do have accent walls.
They do.
And so to be able to just select the exact shade of warmth that you want, or cool, or even crazy colours. We've tried some crazy colours too. It's just really fun, and I think it's really customizable, and I think it makes it really personal for you, and it works for your personal space and gives you exactly what you wanted out of the colour or the light in that area.
Yeah. So just to touch on your point about the customizability of these actual lights, what actually makes Eve quite different to a lot of strip lights that are actually available in the market is that they have 3 different LEDs in here, so 3 different diodes. They have a warm white, a cool white, and an RGB. Now, a lot of strip lights that you buy...
Which is red, green, blue.
Yeah, red, green, blue. What a lot of strip lights come with is either just the white one, so as you said, you know, you'll just have one constant white color that's showing.
Yeah.
Or you'll just get the RGB where you can play around with colors and get different shades. So this basically gives you additional depth with regards to the richness of the colors that you're going to get.
Yeah, really lovely.
Purely because Eve basically stated in the documentation that it actually uses all 3. So it uses the warm white, cool white, and the RGB to mix different light colors.
Yeah.
And I've got to say, when we're just playing around with them over the course of the last week, you get some really lovely shades and colors. I mean, you can just go crazy.
Yeah.
And they really do mix and blend really well.
I like a warm light, not so much a cool light, and this can take it right up to the next level, because you can go way beyond warmth, and you can go into like peach and pink and salmon, and you know, you can go really, really far out there. I think certainly in some, you know, downstairs bathrooms or a guest bathroom or, you know, cocktail bar area, this is such a fun product to have.
Even if you have dinner parties, for example, I mean, the one thing that we're going to have a bit of fun with tonight, it's Saturday night, so for us that means it's pizza night.
Yeah.
So we're going to illuminate the kitchen with the colours of the Italian flag. So if you do have guests and you do have parties, obviously past COVID or post-COVID times, you know, you can actually use these lights to create themes and
it's cool. I mean, you know, you can just imagine, can't you, just having a kid's birthday party. You've got, you know, Spider-Man, so you do the kitchen in red or the space in red, because, you know, you might use this in your living room or something like that.
True.
So, yeah, there's so many different things that you can do with it, which is really fun. And I think it's really makes it, the whole space, it changes the whole space. And almost like your decor, like you're not decorating as much. So for example, on New Year's Eve, you can go completely wacky. So yeah, it's nice. The scheduling's been really helpful. I really like the scheduling. The scheduling's great. It's not it's not actually on the lights straight out of the box. In order for the scheduling to take place, you have to update the firmware, which we did, and that does allow you to then schedule your lights. And it had the option of doing any times that you wanted, so specific times on specific days, or just setting it to a simple sunrise sunset. And even the sunrise sunset was customizable, because it was like you could do it 30 minutes before sunrise. That's the really cool thing about the Eve scheduling, is that it gives you full control over anything that you want to do with regards to schedules. The oven light, we've programmed that so it only comes on at cooking times. I've turned it on now just so we can actually see the colour, but it automatically only comes on, I think, from 5 till 7 when we're normally cooking dinner, and then it switches off. So it's just really nice to be able to have that automation. Now that actually takes us into the next point, which is called adaptive lighting. It's something that Apple introduced very recently. And the actual Eve strip lights are one of the few programmable lights, the HomeKit lights, that actually work with adaptive lighting. Now, what adaptive lighting is that you can schedule your lights to come on, and basically, in the first thing in the morning, they'll exude a warm white color. Okay. As the day progresses, that gets progressively cooler, and by the time you hit nighttime, it basically removes all blue hues and wavelengths out of the actual light, to basically soften on your eyes. Soften your eyes. So during the day, they actually crank up the blues, because that apparently makes you a little bit more energized. So I don't think that really works for us in this house, where we've actually positioned these strip lights, because it does change your color. You completely lose the customizability of the colors that you've selected, because it's putting out the colors that are optimal for you. Okay. But that is something that could work quite well in an office, if you want to use these in an office and you want to stay productive. And when it starts to get dark, especially in the UK, it gets dark quite early in the winter. So you don't want that blue light tiring your eyes out. I think it's quite clever the way that it's been designed. On the subject of adaptive lighting, you do have to have a HomePod or an Apple TV installed. That basically works as a hub. It's the way Apple have configured it. The adaptive lighting won't work if you've only just got the strip lights and no Apple TV or no HomePod. It's not going to work. The other really cool feature that I've now discovered with regards to HomeKit and all the other smart devices that we've got in the house is that you can create rules when certain things happen for certain other things to happen. So what I mean by that is we've got the Eve room, for example. This monitors the air quality inside the house. So if, for example, we set it that, let's say it hits 3 stars, so the air quality is dropping, we can now set a rule to say, okay, the air quality is dropped, you need to turn that light on bright red, so that when we come into the room, just go, okay, hang on, the Eve room is now triggered, and we need to go and, go find where it is. So if it's in the utility room or in a different room, go open a window, air the room out, bring the air quality back up to scratch. Yeah, so could you also do that for temperature? So for example, if you were using this little thermometer in a baby's room or in a kid's room, and you want to have a threshold of do not let it get hotter or colder than this temperature, and you come into the kitchen and see the lights changed, or wherever you've installed your Eve strip light, because you might have installed it
totally.
in, wherever, living room or something, and you see that color. So it's almost like a visual trigger that you're like,
completely,
something's happened.
I mean, you do get notifications, you can set notifications, but if your phone's not with you,
you just walk around your house.
Or you've missed the notification and you walk into the room and you see that light is on bright red, that automatically triggers a visual cue saying, okay, hang on, something's gone wrong. I need to go sort it out. And if you're really cool and you've got, let's say, a wine cellar or something like that, where you've got one of these installed, I keep talking about the Eve room, but if the temperature's risen or dropped, or the humidity's gone up or down, it is all stuff that you can just have visual cues to go and address a potential issue.
You also said that it's going to work with the Eve camera.
It does, and I've got to make it clear. I mean, it doesn't only work with Eve stuff. Anything that's on the HomeKit that is monitoring something, it'll actually work. So the Eve camera is something that will work. If you have another HomeKit-enabled camera, it will probably work in much the same way.
Wow.
So, for example, we're going to set a rule. We haven't reviewed it yet, but this is going to be our next review, is the actual cam. So it's a matter of where we position it and set a rule. So as you were saying, let's say, for example, these lights go off in the evenings at 10 p.m.
Yeah.
If, for example, we have to come down during the course of the night, it's pitch black down here. If the camera detects the motion, it'll turn the lights on for you.
Wow.
Which is awesome. And then, that way we're not going to come tumbling down the stairs.
Yeah. The alternative is obviously for a security angle. So, for example, if you've got this set up in a space that you want secure and you've got a camera there,
totally.
and then you want that to trigger a light somewhere else to tell you that has actually triggered, then there could also be a security light almost.
Definitely. Again, playing around with the colors. We've got the TV room at the far end of the house that gets really, really cold, which we've covered extensively in our air source heat pump videos. If that temperature in that room, because we've got Eve TRVs basically installed in our radiators. If the temperature in that room drops below a certain point, we can set one of these lights to go
icy blue,
freezing. Yeah, exactly. So that we know, okay, that room's gotten really cold again. Maybe we can go turn a fan on or get that room back up to temperature. So there's a lot of things that you can do with HomeKit. And I just think the really cool thing is that lights are just such a visual cue for everybody. That you can configure a lot of things to just use them as alerts.
Just to quickly touch on the installation, it was very easy. It was as you would expect. It comes with a plug. It comes with double-sided tape on the back, which, to be fair, might probably be the only niggly thing that I would pick up on as a negative or as something that could be improved by Eve. I didn't feel the quality of the double-sided tape on the back of the light was the best.
It's not come down yet.
It hasn't fallen down, so that's good news. But I have to say, when I did peel off the back and I saw the double-sided tape, I wasn't that impressed with the double-sided tape. On the other side, though, the flip side of that is if you wanted to put it somewhere more temporary and be able to take it down if you're in rented accommodation or something, then I wouldn't have too many worries about putting this, sticking onto something, because I think it's going to be quite easy to remove. But apart from that, the rest of the installation was really, really easy.
It really was.
I would say that it's a flat, quite wide. I think it's maybe 1.5 centimeters, 2 centimeters wide, something like that.
Just under 2 centimeters, I think.
And it's flat and it's wide. So the only thing you want to think about is if you're going around corners. So if you want to go around corners, it's easy to bend it, for example, that way, but not so easy to bend it that way, if you know what I mean. Before you peel this off and just go for it, I would kind of actually just take a moment to lay it out onto everywhere that you want, to go all the way around all the corners you want to put it on, without removing the double-sided tape seal. Put it all the way around and make sure that it's bending into the right areas, and then look at installing it. And you can only cut it at certain points. So that is something that you just want to keep in the back of your mind.
You do have to do a lot of measuring. If you're just going to lay it on one long line, there's absolutely no thought process there at all. You can just put it up, upside down, sideways, whichever way you want to. As you said, with these cabinets, we couldn't actually undermount it because you can't bend it around the corners, which is why we ran it along the kind of vertically.
Flat. We didn't run it up. We ran it flat.
So that allows you to get the bands, gentle bands around corners. So that worked for us.
And putting the extension on was super easy. So if you buy the extension to go with this because you want to obviously extend it, which is, as we said, I think at the beginning, a much better thing to do.
Definitely.
Because rather than buying 2 sets of these, which will get quite costly, to buy 1 set and then just buy the extension, and then it literally just, I mean, they just literally kind of snapped onto each other. They snap in
and they come on instantly as soon as they're plugged in. And you can connect up to 4 extensions onto one original strip light, which means that you could get up to 10 meters through extensions, which is quite a long way.
That's good. Cutting it as well, we had to cut both of them because they were a little bit too long. When it hit the cabinet, we had extra left over. Cutting it was dead simple. Pair of scissors, cut it, and just be careful not to cut it, you know, on the side that you want to keep, that you're using too far. Try and really cut it. We cut it very precisely on the cut mark. So with regards to the color, you can also add your colors to your favorites. So you can actually create a little favorites library of colors that you know regularly use and go to, which I think is really nice because, for example, with us, once you've chosen that shade of color that you really love, you want to just make sure that you can always go to it. And if you change it to, you know, pink for party time, you want to just go back to that exact shade. So that's quite nice to have your favorites, I think.
So all in all, I think this is my favorite Eve product.
Yeah, I think so. I think that I love the fact that there's just so much that you can do with it. I didn't really appreciate when we unboxed it. I just thought, oh, it's just a strip light. And I just thought, well, it's just a strip light that I can just change the color on. But actually, it's so much more than that. And you can just have it functioning in so many different ways. And I think it's really good. I think it's a great thing to have in the house.
And I think that as Apple evolves HomeKit, I think lights are going to become a far bigger part of that. And the fact that, and this is something that we probably haven't mentioned, we would have alluded, is that this product works with Apple only. So if you've got Android or if you're running a Samsung phone, for example, this won't work. But from that perspective, the fact that Eve are running very hand in hand with HomeKit just means that their products are constantly evolving, and whatever new functionality Apple release, Eve are very quick at adapting those functionalities into their products. So I hope that you have found this video helpful and useful. If you did, please hit the subscribe button below, give us a thumbs up.
By all means, leave some questions below. Not that we know a huge amount more than what we've already shared with you, but we will always try and answer your questions. And if you're using an Eve light strip and
that's exactly right,
in a certain room or a certain way, or you're having fun with it, we'd love to hear about how you're using it as well. I think that that's the nicest thing about this particular light strip, is that everybody can use it in a different way, and it can be really personalized to what you need for that space.
And if you're doing anything really cool with HomeKit and the actual Eve strip lights, please also leave a comment below, because we'd probably love to integrate that into our house.
Certainly. So on that note, stay safe, stay warm. It's a lovely, gorgeous, sunny winter's day here. So I need to get out and feed our wild birds and the pheasants. And yeah, we'll see you on our next video.
Thanks for watching.
Bye.